Well, Ulysses, the Tampa Bay Rays took 2 of 4 against the New York Yankees, otherwise splitting the series against the Yankees on the road. Some good news and some bad news we learned over the course of this series.
Yes, so there are a lot to cover in these next 30 minutes, so let's get going right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays as well. You can also email us anytime with a mailbag question, comment, concern, or hot take, lockedonrays@gmail.com. All right, Ulysses, let's get right into it. Our takeaways and observations from a weekend that was. What do you got?
I cannot understate nor overstate. It's like such a sweet spot right now what Taylor Weiss is doing offensively. I mean, this guy just keeps impressing me, man.
Yeah.
It's something to behold right now because he has done. I even put in on Twitter, the Taylor Weiss character arc is Looney Tunes, because you would have never thought this is exactly what we would be getting. This is his slash line right now, including yesterday's game. 281, 373 on base, 583 slug, a 167 WRC plus. 167. Yeah. In his whole 2022 season, he was at 66 WRC plus. 167. What he's doing is fantastic. 7 stolen bags, 7 home runs. This is a guy, Kevin, that could be a 15-15 this season if everything just keeps kind of like going all right for him and doesn't hit a very big drought coming up. So for me, this is the biggest takeaway so far. Positively, we can speak about other things because other things went right, other things went wrong. But I just really wanted to highlight Taylor Weiss's offensive production because just like you have to spotlight when players are not doing well, and we've done that plenty with Taylor Weiss's offensive struggles in 2022 with facts and with numbers. Well, the facts and numbers say that Taylor Weiss is right now one of the best hitters, not only on the team, but what he can do defensively too. This guy is one of the best players in the league right now.
And with his legs, let's not forget that. He has really transformed himself, especially offensively, and left side of the plate, right side of the plate. He's doing it from both angles. And he was very close to having a multi-homer game yesterday, if I recall. But of course, the grand slam. We already thought this year we had the Taylor Weiss game, the historic game that he'll never repeat or replicate. But I'm willing to eat my words on that. I want to see what happens for the next 120 games or so with Taylor Weiss. And I know it's cliche to say going into the offseason, there's always the storylines of this guy's in the best shape ever. He's remade his swing. He's remade his stance. But in a sense, I guess it's working for Taylor Weiss. Some minor adjustments to his stance and being a little bit more flat and direct to pitches up in the zone. We remember last year, he has a great approach at the plate, can work a count. He's a tough out, but he could spoil pitches, but when he had his pitch to hit, he just wouldn't capitalize. Certainly he's capitalizing on that this year, especially with the fastball. 95, 96, 97. It seems like not just Taylor Weiss, but a lot of guys, they're on time, if not early, to just incredibly high velocity. So that's something to watch and focus on going forward. But it's really great to see what he's able to do. And I don't know, I don't look at batting orders every single day, but has he always been 6th in the batting order? It seems like the Rays are kind of slowly, methodically moving him on up.
He's been lower. Yeah, he's been lower in the lineup. And so I think they've tinkered with him. But they won't tinker with Brendan Lau, people. But that's another story. But no, Taylor Walls. Yeah, I think 6 is the highest he's been. If I'm not remembering correctly. But no, again, the good observation there with the fastball. I know he worked on the offseason with explosiveness in the lower half, and it does show. But man, the offensive production, nobody would have called for this. I mean, this is ridiculous.
And I think the other thing too, not to knock on Taylor Walls, but right now, presently, there's so many other guys in the lineup that pitchers have to worry about and are focused on. That Taylor Walls is kind of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th fiddle when you're talking about Randy and Yandy and Wander and Lau when he's hot and Bethancourt. I mean, we can just go Josh Lowe. We can just go up and down the list. And it's like, well, man, now Taylor Walls is going to beat us. What's going on here? So
exactly,
it's really good to see what he's been able to do for sure.
Exactly. If you're hot, but if the whole team is hot, you're probably not going to get the spotlight if you're Taylor Walls. So yeah, I can see that being a positive for him. But yeah, I do have another takeaway, and this one might not be as positive, but I thought I should say it anyway. During the New York series, I basically went through the box scores and used my handy dandy Excel spreadsheet and did some filtering here. I want to just do a comparison between starters and relievers. The starters went 10 innings, and by starters, I only mean these two, McClanahan and Eflin. I did not include Fleming on this. So starters, 10 innings, 12 hits allowed, 8 runs, 5 walks, 12 punchies, 4 home runs. So the result of that was ew. Okay, not great for the starters. Now relievers, 17 innings, 21 hits, 16 runs, 7 walks, 12 punchies, 5 home runs. That's worse.
Double ew? Triple ew?
I mean, yeah, that's even ew with a side of ew for dessert ew. Pitching, not great this series. Not great. And I know the people that always have to say everything positive about the Rays, because that's another form of toxicity. No, you have to say the good things and the bad things.
Yeah.
The bad thing is the team didn't pitch as they were able to, and they'll be the first ones to say it. Jason Adam will tell you that he should not have given up that bomb. McClanahan should tell you that he should not go walk bomb. He knows this. Eflin did, I think, a solid job, but allowing, 4 runs in 6 innings is not also like, what should be expected from right now. Is he your number 2, by the way? Is Zach Eflin your number 2, Kevin?
Well, he's a $40 million man, and injuries upon injuries upon injuries will maybe lead to that, which that's my takeaway, by the way. And yeah, I'm glad you brought up the pitching end of things, and we'll get more into that. But it is really disappointing where I know leading into this series of the 4-gamer versus the Yankees, we had said, hey, just split. That's all we're asking for. And yes, that is true. But when you're up 6-0, you expect to, in the later portions end of a game, you expect to be able to close that out and handle that. And
was that karma?
Of course, that didn't happen.
Was that karma because it happened to Cole too?
Possibly, yeah. And look, I mean, the Yankees are a different team when they have Aaron Judge in the lineup.
Yeah.
It just makes everything so much better and thicker for them. And I think also you have a lot of relievers on the roster that maybe weren't quite ready or prepared for the moment of pitching at Yankee Stadium in front of 42,000 fans on Mother's Day weekend.
Well, I mean, look, I know Javi Guerra has the stuff, and I've joked around on Twitter doing the GIF. You remember Major League when he's Charlie Sheen is like throwing the bullpen, but he's like hitting the cardboard batter.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's, of course, I remember everything about that movie because it is an instant classic and should be revered as such.
Exactly. Well, that GIF, that's Javi Guerra. Yeah, you can see this stuff, but I mean, you have no idea where it's going, and you're walking guys all over town. So he's DFA.
Like a 19-year-old Dominican in Complex League.
You might, I mean, Andy Romero, syndrome, the ERS You have the ERS. You've got the stuff, but can you command or control it, whatever you want? And that's definitely not been the case with Javi. He gets DFA'd, but before he gets DFA'd, he didn't have such a great weekend. I know that the last outing was a third, only a hit allowed, a walk, and a strikeout. But I just, the bullpen needs help. And I know we can say Pete Fairbanks is coming back on Tuesday, which is so good. That is fantastic news. Diekman, he showed good stuff. A really nice, clean inning. So hopefully we can see more from him. But if you've been watching Rays baseball for, I'm going to just be nice and say the last 10 years, there's no way that with a straight face you can tell me this is the best bullpen that they've had. Nope. There's no way. I don't even think it's top 3, to be quite honest, right now. And it's struggling. And I know the off days are an issue. Of course it is. But all of these guys can do better than they're doing. I'm happy about Beeks. It was nice to get 2 innings from Beeks, kind of showing up what he can do. But overall, I know they've been tired, but I don't think right now this semblance of the bullpen, it screams World Series winner right now.
No, it might scream first round playoff exit if it stays this way. And the Rays have a lot of prospects at their disposal, and there might be a point where you have to maybe trade some of that equity to acquire a bullpen arm or two, maybe a starting pitching arm or two. We'll get into that as well. But first, we have to tell you about this. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win with the right parts. When the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Speaking on this series for another second, you brought up the bullpen, and we have to be honest, the offense, I don't see how this can be sustainable for the entirety of the season. So at some point, the pitching staff is going to have to bail out or assist the offense. It can't be a one-way street where it's offense carrying the team for the entirety of the season. You're on mute, sir.
Wait, so you don't think, I didn't want to disrupt you during the eBay Motors one. You don't think that 8 players can have higher than 900 OPS? That you don't think that's sustainable, Kevin?
I don't think that's sustainable, nor do I think those 8-9 players can stay healthy for 162.
You are such a hater. You're always looking at the negatives. Oh my God, why can't you be positive? Well, you know what, people? It's because we've seen enough baseball to be realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to live in the real world. You got to step away from your spreadsheets that tell you, well, the X-Wobet's going to be, fantastic for all these players. Like, yeah, that's great. Go play Stratomatic. This is real life where these human beings can have anxiety issues and they have to take, some time away. They might have back pain and they need to step away. They might have an oblique issue and then might not be able to run as well. I mean, is anybody going to talk about how Wander Franco didn't look like he was running all the way during the weekend? We're not going to talk about it. Cool. I'm not going to talk about it either because I don't want to put it out in the ether. So that's all we'll say about that. Like, these guys are human beings. So yeah, I am with you. That's why the Taylor Walls thing needs to be celebrated right now. Taylor Walls needs to be celebrated by Rays fandom because he's doing fantastic things with the bat, which is completely coming out of nowhere. And so, yeah, he should be celebrated, but you should also know, hey, this is it seems like an outlier. Seems like an aberration from everything that we've seen from him in Major League Baseball. So take it with a grain of salt. These results are not going to be there all the time. However, pitching and defense is the structure of this organization. So if I know it was one game, but just bear with me. if McClanahan is not going to be able to get through 5 clean, and do that against a division rival that's last, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. And the bullpen can't hold. I mean, we all know why McClanahan was there, those extra 3-4 batters, right? We're all conscious of the fact that Kevin Cash was like, I can't bring my bullpen this early. Like, there's no way in hell I can do this and win
is in
this game.
2020.
Yeah, I gotta die with my horse out there. And guess what? He did it again with Eflin. Like, dude, you gotta give me 6. You gotta give me 6.
And he's going to have to continue to do that because we learned over the course of this weekend that Drew Rasmussen is out for at least 2 months with a flexor strain. Talk about a gut punch, or as you like to say, a hit right to the plums. I mean, that was a day after an amazing performance of 7 innings and 76 pitches, 7 punches. Like, he wasn't straining then to get through his outing. Then a day later, we learned the terrible, awful news. So
yeah,
Rasmussen is gone, maybe for the entirety of the season. We don't know. Jeffrey Springs is definitely gone for the entirety of the season. Tyler Glass now, he's definitely not going to be up by mid-May, whenever your timeline is for that. So the pitching staff is battered and tattered. And I hate to be the guy that told you so, but we were both kind of that way leading into the season. Of the Rays 1 through 5, best they've ever had. Sure, yeah, on paper, but let's wait until the games count and the season starts and see how healthy these guys are. And one of my biggest concerns for both Drew Rasmussen and Jeffrey Springs was the workload increase, the exponential increase from 2020 to 2021 to 2022, and see what they do in 2023. And lo and behold, they're getting hurt very early on in the season. When you have a reliever go from 40 innings to 140 innings and another go from 75 innings to 140 innings, I feel like that's a difficult task and an ask for a pitcher. Moreover, and Neil Solondz has kind of banged the drum on this, is the pitch clock and the recovery time in between pitches could be in effect as well. Instead of having really unlimited time, as much time as you want between pitches, you have 15, 20 seconds, and it's just like doing reps when you're lifting weights. I mean, think about lifting heavy weights and then having to constrain your time. It's not going to be easy on you.
No.
In addition to the fact that these pitchers are learning all these different pitches and they're going max out with velocity and doing these sweepers and sliders, it's not going to help you as far as the health factor either. So that's concerning. And on top of that, cherry on top, on the offensive side of things, Yandy Diaz, we don't know the prognosis of him with his groin issue after slipping on third base, and you lose him for an extended period of time. That's unfortunate because he's only playing like the best hitter in the American League right now.
Yeah, he's only the guy that could win the MVP. So
legitimately, that's not a joke. That's not hyperbole. No. He is on pace to do that.
Yeah. The only guy that could stop him right now would be Shohei Ohtani or Wander Franco. Who, by the way, we've already talked about the Wander thing, so let's not put it out there anymore. No, this is the injuries, man. I mean, they're gonna pile up, and I know that sometimes we can be, I think, for some people, oh man, they're so negative, which I don't think we are. I think we're just more realist, and we're not going to just put rainbows and unicorns on everything. Again, the whole thing about the offseason, and I've talked about this endlessly. I hate it. I hate the whole thing on anti-social media that people just put the 5 starters and be like, this is the best rotation ever. It's like,
yeah,
have you not watched baseball? Like, I just feel like I like offended enough. It's like an affront about just this ignorant takes of baseball just by putting 5 starters. Like, that's not what a championship team is built on. Okay, you show me the next 7 dudes.
Yeah.
And that are going to step up when all of those guys are going to hit the IL, especially if you're in the Rays organization. Okay, if you're in the Rays organization, your pitchers are going to get hurt. Like, that's just a reality. Why? Because they're going to be taking more risks than a lot of other teams.
Yes.
And by risks, I mean, yeah, you take Drew Rasmussen with two Tommy Johnson, say, hey, go from a reliever to a starter, and let's see what happens. That's a risk. Not a lot of other teams would do that. So then you have to add that into the mix of why Rays pitchers usually get hurt more than others. And by the way, all of the things that you said are completely true on why they're getting hurt or why they're probably getting hurt.
Yeah.
And also, what are they doing? They're doing something unnatural. The pitching motion is already unnatural as it is.
Right.
And then you put everything that you just said on top of that. So, yeah, man, it's been a lot with Rasmussen. Thankfully, Fairbanks is coming back. Armstrong, I think early June is the last I've heard of it. But,
I hope you're not banking on Sean Armstrong to be the hero of this roster. I mean, he should help in some shape or form, but he's not the game changer.
Sean Armstrong,
it's not Max Scherzer, coming back or something. I don't know.
Sean Armstrong is a nice piece, and I think he did good things last year, and I think he is definitely a major league type bullpen arm. He's not a needle changer by any means. If he is, then this organization would be called the Colorado Rockies and not the Tampa Bay Rays. Like,
yeah,
the Colorado Rockies would love a guy like Sean Armstrong. They'd be like, oh, our bullpen is so much better now. It doesn't really move the needle that much when you're with the Rays. Like, it really doesn't. And I know people are like, oh, yeah, well, you're forgetting about Andrew Kittredge, who's an all-star in 2021. Yeah, but he hasn't thrown a ball in a year and a half by the time that he comes back. So really you're telling me you're banking on dudes that you haven't seen for a long time on the mound, and then Colby White, yeah, he was also hurt a long time.
Yes,
I'm again, this team is super fun, has done amazing things, and I think those amazing things are going to keep going. But the big flaw that is spotlighted when you look at the offense, at the defense, at the base running, at the pitching staff, all eyes go towards the bullpen. Why? Because we've been accustomed to having really good bullpens as Rays fans, and this is not a great bullpen right now. I mean, you look at everything between F4 and hard hit percentage and walk rate and strikeout rate. They're not all in the top 10, man.
Yeah.
Not in top 10. Oh, you want to look at ERA? Okay. Have your day. And if that's what makes a bullpen good in your idea, in your head, that an ERA makes a bullpen good, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. You can have one blow up as a reliever, and it's going to chase you the whole damn season. So then that's not really an effective way of looking at a reliever, right? It's looking at an ERA. So now you're telling me they're looking at a team ERA for a bullpen? Not good.
Yeah. It's good that the Rays banked so many wins early and got off to that amazing, 13-0 start?
Yeah.
Before they lost their first game. Because believe it or not, despite the Rays being 31-11 and having a historic start to 2023, the Orioles are only 4 games back. And the Blue Jays are only 6 games back. Like, things can change on a dime and very, very quickly. And I'll also say this. It seemed to me that the Yankees absolutely, definitely, I don't know if I want to say fear the Rays, but they ensure that they bring their A game versus the Rays. There's a different level of intensity. I mean, when DJ LeMahieu's, making diving stops at third, and it was sort of a clinic throughout that series. It was a good example of this is what baseball is about: the back and forth, the 1-run games, the game-changing homers, the amazing defensive plays. It's like that when the Rays come to town, the Yankees wake up, seemingly.
The never-ending comebacks as well. And no lead is safe. 6 out of 7 games they've played have been by 1 run. I mean, that's incredible, and you're 100% right. I think Yankees respect what the Rays are doing, even the fandom does, and they're like, okay, this is a good barometer of how good we're doing. What worries me, and maybe I'm wrong on this, and if you think I'm wrong, please make sure to put it down in the comments, or if you think I'm right, hey, also give me props. But I do think I was, and I still believe this. If the Rays came out with a split in the series, that was a W. You keep things status quo. I saw so many Yankee fans on into social media rejoicing the split, saying that's the way to go, and we prove that they're beatable. We got this. So now I'm now second guessing myself, Kevin. Like, if Yankee fans are really happy about a split, was the split kind of bad for the Rays?
I think the way that this split happened, again, the one-run games and the fact that you had such an amazing lead over the course of the weekend in one of those games, and you let it go. Like, this team should have taken 3, but they only split it. So
yeah,
that's the way that I'd put it.
I guess they've both series have been so close that I can see the argument that both teams could have won both series, and so that just tells you that they're close. They're close in talent. They play each other well. Now the Yankees are going to be playing 4 games against the Jays, while the Rays go to the other borough and play 3 against the Mets. So, divisionally speaking, I want them to beat up on each other, the Yankees and the Jays. Split that crap. Split those 2. Nothing happens. No team wins this series. I think that would be terrific for the Rays.
All right, we'll see what the Rays can do this week. They do have a needed and deserved off day before they face the underperforming New York Mets on Tuesday, and we'll preview that series coming up in our next episode. Thank you all for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Be an everydayer. Listen to us every single day. We appreciate that, whether it's on YouTube or traditional podcast, whatever it may be. It's very much enjoyed by us. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.